Hello, and welcome to CHUB Cast, where we review 2 albums an episode spanning across a multitude of genres, with your hosts.
My name is Zach Smith, and I'm the bassist.
And I'm Ben, and I'm the vocalist.
The one who plays the guitar is me, Greg.
I'm Kyle, and I hit stuff with sticks.
All the way from Brighton, UK, combined, we make up the band CHUB. I hope you enjoy the podcast.
Hello, and welcome to CHUB Cast episode 12. You know our names thanks to the fancy intro, so I'm just going to jump into socials, which is all in the description box below, so I'm not going to jump into socials at all. At the end of last episode, we were tasked to listen to Greta Van Fleet, From the Fires, and Opeth, Watershed, alongside the singles being Fen of Shadows by Skeleton Witch and Acid Rain by Liquid Tension Experiment. We ask you, the audience, to get involved. Send your reviews to chubtheband@gmail.com, or use the hashtag CHUBView, or comment in the comment section below if you're watching on YouTube. And we will read out your reviews, at the end of the episode. I think that's it. Shall we? Which one do you guys want to do first? We probably should have discussed this one.
Ooh. Let's do Opeth.
Opeth.
Sure.
Okay.
Decisions. Yeah.
Opeth.
Opeth Doketh.
Opethy dokethy.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So, Opeth is my choice. It's, as I said, this is one of 3 top, 10 out of 10 albums Opeth have, in my opinion. They're one of my top 3 bands of all time. Josh, who we talk about all the fucking time on this podcast, showed me the Drapery Falls off of one of their previous albums, Blackwater Park, back in 2008 or something. He found out about it because his sister Vanessa was dating a guy on World of Warcraft, and he showed her the band, and she showed Josh the band, and then we downloaded all of their stuff on LimeWire. So
LimeWire.
Hell yeah,
LimeWire.
There's a reference.
Damn.
Not have sexual relations.
Right. There's LimeWire, but no.
This was the last album of what is most people consider to be Opeth's traditional sounds. They kind of went a bit softer on the next album, Heritage, and kind of divided the fan base a bit, but they're still good, just not as special in my opinion. Yeah. Lead singer Mikael Åkerfeldt, unquestionably absolute musical genius, writes basically all the music with a bit of contribution from the other people, but I mean, yeah, he composes almost everything. And yeah. Should we tell the story now, Zach, or are we going to tell it later?
Oh yeah, the story. Tell it now. Tell it now.
Tell it.
Story time.
Yeah.
Me-
Yeah.
Should
I tell it?
You tell it.
Oh, okay. So, Kyle and I were 16 years of age. We were driving towards Download Festival 2009. We were listening to their radio show, was it?
Yeah. I don't even remember how we got onto that radio, because this was before internet radio and shit.
Yeah, we just managed to get on it. And they just Kyle entered a competition to meet some bands, and they just out of the blue just called Kyle and was like, "Hey, do you want to meet Opeth?" And I mean, I just shat myself. I could not believe we won that, because me. I just loved. I don't think you cared that much, but I couldn't believe it. I was so happy.
I was really hyped, but I was just. I didn't know how to react.
I'm pretty sure you didn't care that much, but I really cared. So, either way, we got to Download. We did the thing. We saw the bands. It was fun. It was not wet. I think Download started in the teenies. And
Yeah. I still don't know why they brought that in.
Yeah, shit. It's fucking
Change
terrible.
it back, Download.
Yeah.
It was better before.
It was better when it was dry.
Yeah.
We went backstage. I'm pretty sure we saw Jonathan Davis back there.
Yeah, we did.
Was it? Yeah. which was pretty cool.
We gave him the "We're Not Worthy,"
Oh yeah,
and also I think we saw most of Deer and Grey as well. We're backstage too. We went
nice.
while Limp Bizkit were on, I think.
Yeah, so we avoided seeing them live, thankfully. And so we saw the band, and our mate Josh, who Kyle just mentioned, is like his favourite band, right?
I don't think. Well, they're probably
One
like
of
his
them,
all-time
yeah.
favorite band. But
One
yeah,
of his
he's
favourite
Yeah,
bands.
he's been wet for Opeth since the day I met him.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't he go to like Sweden or something just to see Opeth? Or he went. No, probably not Sweden. He definitely went to a music festival. Didn't like anyone but Opeth.
He went to that one festival in London, didn't he? Yeah, he went to just to see Opeth.
Yeah, and then
And
left.
he went to the festival and literally saw just Opeth, and of course, because it's Opeth, their set lasted like 3 songs.
Yeah. And yeah, we saw Opeth. You got Josh on the phone to talk to Matey, and apparently Josh is just hyperventilating on the phone.
So Kyle said he's like, he is hyperventilating. I'm like, he's a big fan.
He is hyper.
And the funniest part about all this is that he was about this close to coming with us. Like,
Gosh, yeah,
he last minute bailed on coming to download, and he could have met Opeth. That was like, that was the icing on the cake. That was brilliant. Not for him, but for us. It's funny.
I bet it still stings to this day.
You know it does.
I shared the picture of them, which I'm sure Zach will show in the video.
Yeah.
But, I shared the
maybe
picture on
not.
Facebook, and he angry reacted it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the story. What a.
We also have a slight other mini Opeth story, which I'm tell because I was involved. Do you remember when we saw them? Was it Bloodstock or Download? Was it Bloodstock 2018 we saw them?
It's Download, I think.
Yeah, I've seen
I can't remember,
Opeth at Bloodstock, and you guys weren't there, I'm pretty sure.
I must have been Download them. But do you remember when he came on stage and told that story about the woman from ABBA?
Oh yeah, he danced with the woman from ABBA.
What?
Yeah. It was really funny. He just kept saying, and he was just like super chill. He's tuning his guitar or something, and he was just like, because is he Swedish? Because they are. They ABBA.
Yeah, he's
So he was like, yeah, I'm from Sweden, so obviously I've met ABBA, and I danced with the woman. I don't know what her name is. And he was like, yeah, she's a really good dancer, and really good in bed as well. For like thousands of people.
Everyone's like, "Whoa!"
Absolutely.
Also, was that the gig where he kept saying, "Hello, we are Whitesnake"? Doesn't fucking care. He's like, "Why do you?"
You seem like the kind of guys that never take themselves seriously, or like too seriously.
But then you listen to the music and it's like so masterfully crafted, and then he's on stage like, "We are Whitesnake."
I mean, if he came on stage and said, "We are Opeth, we're the best, and we know we're the best. Oh, I'm so good at music," then no one would like that. So
Yeah.
if he didn't have a tongue in his cheek, then it just wouldn't gel.
If he had a big fringe and like lots of hairspray, neck tattoos, and like all costumes and like stage show and all the shit.
Yeah, you know we're the best. I'm Opeth. My name's Michael, I think.
I'm Opeth.
Miguel.
My name is Opeth. I named the band after myself.
He would have changed the ABBA story, so instead of just a sly little witty comment, he would have been like, "Yeah, I fucked her all night. Yeah, it was so good. Just great detail describing the whole thing."
I fucked her with my
The
giant
whole
dick.
thing
funny.
is just like,
So I could chat so much shit about this album, but I'll wait until later. So somebody else is going to talk about it first. So I reckon Ben should talk about it first because he literally just finished listening to it with me like 5 minutes before we started recording.
True confession.
It's fresh in my memory, and what I can remember is So I fucking loved this album. It was fucking awesome. Literally, like the entire thing was such a roller coaster, and I think that's one of the things that mainly drew me to it. Because I didn't know what to think when going into it. Because obviously, when it comes to prog metal, there's like Mastodon at one end, which is more like akin to like early '70s kind of prog, and then there's like this like dream theater metal prog, which is like on the other side of that, which is like slightly different, more polished and pro and everything like that. And then like I feel like Opeth's one of those like prog metal bands that's kind of a good, nice fit in the middle. And they were kind of had a really really nice mixture of really disgustingly strong, like deathcore like doomy lyrics and things like that, with like the really beautiful like melodic vocals of the singer. It was really awesome listening to his voice like the whole time. Like I think my favorite song, I think the whole song was singing, is Burden.
Yeah.
And throughout that whole thing, like accompanied with the sort of kind of like swinging and tangling of the guitar, I was kind of just lying there. I was like, oh, it's doing things to me. I really appreciate, like, yeah, it was fucking awesome, and it was kind of like it took me by surprise a lot as well. Like there'd be bits that I didn't expect at all, like in the song that's Kyle's favorite song, like, I can't remember what it's called, begins with H.
Oh, Hessian Peel.
Hessian Peel. There has like a piano bit that I didn't expect as well, and there's like loads of like other really random bits that are kind of in the songs that's just like it will be like really melodic-y, or like kind of like in the second song of the track as well, it has like loads of like ups and downs, and yeah, it's just all I can say is like it was an absolute roller coaster. And I'll move on to Zach.
Well, as I said earlier, I love Opeth. I met him live. I met Opeth live. I didn't hyperventilate, but I had my inhaler in me just in case. Other than that, though, I thought this album was well boring. Actually, the first song was Coil, which was my favourite track on the album. It had like this lovely little twiddly guitar bit. The female vocalist came in and she sounded like stunning. His clean vocals in all the songs when he's singing clean is amazing in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of other people's. And but then the second, it wasn't a very good opening track, because it kind of like threw me off when the second track it's immediately like heavy and he's like ooh, and I'm like oh okay, so you gave me the old 1 2 ooh, and I didn't really appreciate that. It wasn't very nice. And like I just don't really like his harsh vocals, if I'm honest, which means I might like their newer stuff. So, but like, and it's not like I don't like harsh vocals anymore. 10 years ago, mate, I didn't like harsh vocals, but thanks to Amon Amarth and Ensiferum and folk metal in general, like I've come to realise the beauty of harsh vocals and what they can add to music. But here, I didn't really like it, to be honest. Kind of phased out a bit. I came in, I think it was this, and I listened to the album twice, by the way, just saying. So it's not like I listened to it once and went nah, because the problem about me listening to it the first time is I listened to the Greta Van Fleet album, and obviously I love that, and I was dancing and I was singing along, and it was fucking good time. And then immediately after that I put Opeth on, and I was like, oh, it's bringing my mood down. So that was a mistake, so that's why I gave it a second listen, and it didn't really change my opinion that much. I mean, like I think we've had prog 4 episodes in a row now, and every time I say that Prog is obviously like they're amazing musicians, all that shit. You can't deny that, but I just don't care. Anyway, Greg, continue. Please save this.
Has been a bit of the prog train cannot be stopped. The brakes never on. The prog train goes forever.
It's funny because last episode I was like,
"Oh,
I might like prog now," and I'm like, maybe I just. Like,
I actually remember Kyle actually on that episode was like, "Well, keep that in mind for this album." You remember saying that, Kyle?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna remember that you said that.
Yeah. I remember that I said that too.
I was going to suggest Opeth anyway because I knew Zach was like, we were just memeing about it several times. I was like, it's got to happen. It's got to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway. So good. So it's all about hearing albums that we don't necessarily like or wouldn't normally listen to.
Now I can go back in time and tell him I don't like his music.
Yeah.
To his face.
16-year-old Zach like, shit.
Yeah. You're shit! You just wait till CHUB in 2020.
For me, this was one of the. For me, this is one of those times, these rare times. Spoiler alert. That literally every single song I've listened to today, I really, really loved. literally going through the whole album. I think the one thing that really caught me off guard as well is that I knew that obviously the vocals were quite harsh in a lot of parts, but when he was sort of clean singing, it almost reminded me a bit of like a folky Swedish dad singing around a campfire kind of vibes, like Porcelain Heart, in the last little bits, where it's having those really sort of soft but soaring vocals in the bit where it's just it sounded really, really folky and
sitting
quite
around a campfire in Finland on midsummer, listening to Michael.
Yeah, I got those vibes. I think that's why I really, really enjoyed it as well, because it had a big contrast, I guess, or juxtaposition of the heavy and the soft mixed together.
Yeah.
And variety is the spice of life. I really enjoyed that.
I was going to ask you guys actually what you thought about the folk connection, because obviously normally folk metal is like a blending of the two influences of folk and metal, but this is more of a pairing of them. And I think probably the most what's going to be the most Marmite thing about this band and this album is whether you find it jarring going from the folky, light, airy, sort of softer stuff into the heavy growling, raw guitar-y metal stuff. So I think some people, that's why they love it, and other people, that's going to be the off-putting thing about it. It's something you don't get with many other bands, is that kind of two very different things right next to each other.
Yeah.
And switching a lot in this album.
I think you nailed it on the head there, because I just said I found it jarring, and Ben just said he didn't. So I loved the folky parts, and to be honest, I would like the metal parts, and there are better. I don't know. There are bands out there where I do like the jarringness of doing one or the other. Loads of folk metal bands have a really heavy bit, and then they'll go into a twiddly flute solo or something. And I love that shit, but I don't know, not here. And I can't put my finger on it, and I guess I don't really have to. But
I think as well, it's a particularly difficult band to put your finger on as well, because it's it's quite hard to categorize. I think for that reason I was talking about a second ago. And one thing that I did write down when I was making notes earlier is I don't know when I'm gonna be in an Opeth mood. I really love this album, and I really like Opeth in general, and I do like both aspects, even though there's a part of me that does find it slightly jarring when they go from one to the other. But I appreciate it, and I do really like it. But yeah, I can't really put my finger on what an Opeth mood would be. Like, I love it when it comes on, and I enjoyed listening to this album. But I don't know when I'm gonna sit there and be like, you know what, I'm really up for right now is a 9-minute roller coaster of folk to metal to folk to metal to folk to metal.
Yeah, no, you got that right. One of the things is like obviously prog long songs, but like I actually didn't listen to it twice. I lied to you all. I listened to it once and a half. Yep, you're right. Because cunt, I was listening to Hessian Peel, and I was like, how long's this song? 12 minutes? Is my opinion going to change in 12 minutes? And I just said, no. So,
I mean, to be fair, listening to it a second time is more than any of us could ask for.
yay!
To me, one of the things that's one of the great things about Opeth is they cover so many bases. It's like this album is definitely an acquired taste. Like, so when I first started listening to them back in the day, I only liked the clean parts as well. So I really loved songs like Harvest, which is on Blackwater Park, which is all clean. Songs like Burden and Coil off of this album. The like softer, cleaner parts of Ghost of Perdition and stuff like that. And I kind of
sorry to interrupt you. Which album is Heritage? Is that after when you said it went a bit softer?
Heritage is
Yeah,
the
'cause I
album
was gonna say
after
that-
this one.
Okay, 'cause I really like that album, and it is a bit softer than this one. Things like
It's a lot
Devil's Orchard and stuff.
Yeah, so that's when they transitioned fully into like more folky acoustic songs, and then the rock songs that they have are more like kind of classic rock, or more like sort of classic prog, sort of Rush style prog. I reckon you'd really enjoy that sort of stuff, Zach. You should definitely give the Heritage album a listen. My
Yeah,
favorite
maybe.
of their newer ones is Pale Communion. It's a really nice album.
Yeah, I mean, Claire said that she was confused as to why you chose this album, but now we know, because she thinks the newer stuff is better. But
Yeah, a lot of
that's all
people
down
do.
to taste.
I think it's very much like a. So basically, what I was going to say was, I used to only like the clean parts, but then this is one of those bands that kind of helped me get into more extreme music, because by listening to that clean stuff and like slowly getting to the point where I'm like, I really like this, and then I got used to the heavier parts, and I started really falling in love with the band and looking into the lyrics more and spending more time listening to them, and it grew on me. So a lot of the feelings I have for this album are like ones of nostalgia and appreciation for the path it took me on and stuff. Yeah, it's definitely like one of the things that it's a very divisive thing about prog in general, is a lot of people don't like when it goes all over the place. So it's like for example, bands like King Crimson, who was probably like the first big band to do that sort of thing, they will do all sorts of fucking weird shit all over the place, and some people absolutely hate it and like, this is barely music, it's just nonsense. And then some people will listen to this and be like, he's a fucking wizard, he's a genius. But it's like it's very much a personal, subjective opinion, and I'm on the he's a fucking wizard side of the fence. But then I'm one of those nerds who kind of listens to something like, oh, it's very technical, I really like that, it must have been hard to play, so therefore it's nice to me, sort of thing, you know? Whereas, like, realistically, the majority of people listen to something and are like, sounds good to my ears, so therefore I like it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's the same with like
this is too hard work. I'm not going to listen to this.
yeah, exactly. It's the same with like bands like Animals as Leaders, where Animals as Leaders are literally, holy fucking shit, this guy is an actual magician at guitar, the band. But then like to the majority of people who listen to it, they're like, what's happening?
Where's the singing?
Yeah. So I think Opeth for me kind of hit that happy medium where like they have moments of like crazy shit, and then there's really nice soft folky melodic moments, and or like orchestral moments and stuff. And I think it kind of carries people through.
Yeah, I'd say from listening to the whole album, like as a holistic experience is amazing, because it's kind of like a journey almost. Because like I remember saying to Kyle, it was like the second song felt like the epicness of like the kind of soaring guitars with like the really harsh vocals sounded like like a boss battle in a palace, like in Bloodborne or something, with like a giant knight and stuff like that, because it's just like, oh, like really epic, and then like it has the slower kind of folky bits, and then suddenly you get punched in the face with and I think like I feel like Greg hit the nail on the head in the which like I'm not sure when I'd have a Opethy mood. And I feel like if I did, it wouldn't be one of those moods where I'm like, I'm going to put my shuffle on and just listen to like all my favorite songs. It would be like, if I'm going to listen to this, I'm going to listen to the whole thing kind of thing. Which is what I've been doing with like bands like Protest the Hero. Like I literally have been like listening to Scurrilous like 10 times probably, like the whole album again, because like it's kind of one of those things where like we want to experience the entire thing. And then I guess once you experience it over and over, you kind of pick your favorite parts, and then that's your favorite song, I suppose. That's kind of what my thought process goes like.
Yeah.
So I probably need to give the album like another 2 listens or 3 listens before I find like what my favorite song would be, because at the moment, like as a whole, I appreciate it rather than certain bits.
Yeah, that's what I normally do with an album that I really enjoy. I'll become completely obsessed with it and listen to nothing else for like several weeks, and like really focus on every little part of it. And
Is
then
Greg talking to you guys?
Can you?
Yeah,
am I audible?
I can hear it.
Oh, it's not. Oh, his screen's blank and he's not talking.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, anyway, continue, Greg.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's how I really enjoy listening to music normally.
That's better.
Like if it's an album that I've really enjoyed, then there's something about it. Yeah, I can't stop listening to it. And then once you've really focused in on each part of it, you can kind of zoom out again and then pick the songs that you like and not listen to the whole thing through.
Mate, there's nothing better than finding an album that you just can't stop listening to.
Oh, it's a magical
It's
experience,
so
and it
good.
only happens every so often. But when it does, so good.
Well, because of this podcast, I've had that experience so much, so I appreciate that definitely.
I
Yeah,
appreciate friends.
yeah, you're welcome, Ben. Hope you enjoyed Rare.
From
Forgot what they're called.
episode 1, I had that with Glory Hammer. I fucking listened to Legend of the Galactic Terror
There you go.
Vortex
Yeah.
so many times over.
You've now got a Glory Hammer
would be
hoodie.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan now. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely, I had that experience with that album.
Oh, I got that with the Hell. Every time the Hell come on, I start skanking.
Yeah.
Like when they started playing, and it was like you, me, Kyle, Claire, and Kay. Like she was the only one I think that didn't know the Hell, and we're all just like the Hammer. And she's just like, what the fuck?
Shall we rate ratings? Greg, you were talking.
Yeah, go on. Actually, I didn't write one down because I wanted to properly articulate my thoughts before I did. So, I think.
Consider your thoughts articulated.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some calculations. I mean, there's almost 0 cons for me, other than it doesn't really fit into a box, and that's not really a con at all. That's just like a difficulty in me understanding it.
I'd say that's kind of one
That's
of
kind of
its
a pro.
strengths.
Yeah, so I'm. It's
Yeah.
different from the high scored albums I would normally give, because normally I'd give a really high score to an album that I would listen to on repeat, and it's fucking just enjoyable every time. But like I said, because of the whole I don't know when I'm really in the mood for it thing, maybe I just need to give it more listens, but I'm going to give it a completely subjective 8.5.
Nice. Subjective is like because it's good, right? Because it's like fact. Or is
No,
that your
subjective.
No,
opinion?
subjective is the one where it's just you and you don't really need to justify it because
Okay.
it doesn't matter about facts.
I always
but,
get those two mixed up.
Objective is the good rational one. But I mean they're both fine. But, yeah.
Cool. Ben.
I love this album. It was awesome. It was an experience. I felt like it was more like, again, like it was just kind of like, it felt like it's told a story to me through music, which I really, really appreciate. I'm definitely going to listen to it again, and then probably, I mean, I live with Carl, so I'm probably going to hear a lot of Opeth in general.
I think listening to this album
So,
with Kyle probably improved the
Well, we
experience.
didn't speak really. We were
I tried
literally
very
kind of just
hard not not to say anything.
I thought you'd be given all
Yeah,
the
you
trivia.
Yeah.
No.
No,
I wanted to, but I was
Inspired by
like,
the Himalayas or something.
all he said throughout the entire thing was, oh yeah, it's kind of a concept album. And then the whole time he just shut up, and then I was listening to the entire thing basically like from start to finish. So no outside influence. That's all me, baby.
Fair enough.
And because of that, I really appreciate it. I'm also actually going to give it, because Greg stole it from me before I could say it, an 8.5. I'm copying.
I invented
Yeah, I fucking
8.5.
Nice.
love this. I'm going to give it an 8.55. There you go.
Ah, fuck. Still get royalties.
Ah. Well,
Go
I
on, Zach.
guess that leaves me. I feel really bad for not liking prog around you guys.
Oh, come on, man.
But it's fine, because also who cares? It's funny.
And you liked Protest the Heroes. So there you
I
go.
really liked Protest Hero. I didn't like Closure in Moscow. I feel like I only like Roundabout by Yes because of JoJo. And I didn't really like Opeth.
that song still slaps anyway.
It's a great song.
Right.
Bit long, but great. It's kind of like that film, The Irishman.
Well-
No, not The Irishman.
Yeah, that was the really long one.
Yeah. So,
But- I'll tell you what's good though. There's much more prog for us to show you, so that you got
thank
many more chances
goodness.
to hear the good news.
I need to dig out some dodgy genre that you guys all hate that I love for some reason. I'll just, I don't know, I'll choose the other Ramahoy album.
Oh,
called Time One.
I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, so I wrote down here notes that give me a guy who can a frontman who can barely speak to shout 1, 2, 3, 4 into a microphone and proceed to go for a minute straight any day over this technical tripe I wrote down, but it's not tripe. It is good, but I just, I don't know. I just it don't click. I'm like sitting there listening to it, like, oh, this is a cool bit of piano, lovely. Oh, now it's a guitar, good. Oh, now he's growling, excellent. I don't know. It's just anyway. 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 from old Zacco. I think.
Fair enough.
I might change that score. I need to like go back and find out what everyone's scores is, and I want to like actually keep a tally of them for the future.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because then we could like make a little a chart to see like what got higher scores and shit from each other.
Yeah.
That'd be quite
Can't let
neat.
it get competitive though. People will start marking albums down just because they're like, I want to win.
Yeah, no, there's no winning. My problem would be like if we get any actual listeners in like episode 200 and they're like, well, actually, Zach, you gave Opeth a 3 in episode 12, and you just gave fucking, I don't know, Dream Theater's album a 4, and you clearly hated it. Like,
What are your reasons? Give us the criteria.
I can't
You should
imagine
be
people
like-
like that listening to us. They'd hear us speak and be like, "Oh, these uncultured swines."
I don't know, man. One day when we're super popular.
Kyle, lead us out.
Yeah, so obviously you know this is a 10 out of 10 album for me.
Then I
10 out of 10. My other 10 out of
Say
10.
some more nice things about it though.
Sure. So it's all like the orchestral stuff is where they really kick into this album, and the reason why it's probably my favorite over other more conventional favorite albums of Opeth's. Like most people who like this generation will say either Ghost Reveries or Blackwater Park. Both are also 10 out of 10, but this one really introduces the really nice orchestrated parts. The female vocals in Coil are really nice. It's very like the acoustic interludes are really good, and I feel like the way that they break into each part is really pretty. The bit in Porcelain Heart with the weird fucking mellotron that Ben was like earlier, he was listening to it, he's like, what the fuck is happening?
Wait, is that the bit that kind of sounds like...
Yeah.
That sounded like Sonic the Hedgehog music.
like a video game.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, what the fuck
Yeah.
is a mellotron?
It's like a kind of a Moog synth. It's like a synthesizer-y, piano-y thing.
I think you're just making this up. I just ask what a mellotron is, and you go, yeah, it's a Moog.
It's
It's like a
Moog.
synthesizer is a specific kind of synthesizer that everybody used back in like.
Dude, it's a Schumel,
Okay.
didn't you know?
It's a plumbus.
I feel like that's
As
an
you're outing
instrument.
me as somebody who doesn't know fuck all about prog music. Shit.
Yeah, you Moog.
You
God
fucking
damn it.
You fucking Moog. I feel like that's an instrument that Michael probably found in a charity shop and was like, I'm gonna bung that on the album. Fuck it.
Everyone will think I'm so unique and cultured.
And really just found it in like Stockholm Savings or whatever. Where are they from?
They're from.
Sweden.
I think they are from Stockholm. Yeah.
Yes!
But yeah, if you like this album and you like the more death metal-y part of Opeth, listen to Ghost Reveries and Blackwater Park. If you liked the more soft, folky parts, definitely listen to their later albums. So Heritage is very folky and acoustic. The album after that, Pale Communion, is kind of folky with bits of like more classic rock in. And then the album after that, Sorceress, was just straight up classic rock. And then their newest album, In Call the Venenum, I didn't like it, so don't listen to that. I mean, maybe you'll like it, but it just didn't do anything for me. But there's a version in Swedish and a version in English. Ooh. But yeah, give them a go. Definitely, Zach, I'd say listen to Heritage. You'll probably like it.
Fair enough. I'm sure Claire's played it around me. It's time for singles. Let's not get shingles.
My mum had shingles once.
My dad
My
had
mummy had
shingles
shingles
every
once.
year.
Probably put her down.
Oh no.
Okay, right. So it was Ben and Greg who chose the singles. Let's do Ben's first. Go on, Ben.
Yay! What was my single? It was Fen of Shadows, wasn't it?
That's right.
Fen of Shadows by
Fen of
the
Shadows.
Skeleton Men.
The Skeleton Boys. Yeah, so Skeleton Witch. Are we recording?
The song was
We are
very
recording. I probably
spooky.
should have said that.
Oh,
It was
okay.
a spooky song. It gave me the
Spooky
bad
skeleton.
dream. But then it was just
yeah.
a wet dream. Sorry.
That's the Fen.
Oh my god. And that was the Shadow?
The Fen of
Just come
Shadows
out.
is in Zach's band.
The Fed of Shadows is up my bell end.
Oh god. Yeah, so Skeleton Witch, they're like a black metal kind of band. This is one of those bands that I literally like. I think I was listening to Black Dahlia Murder or something like that, and then you know when Spotify literally just kind of just plays whatever the fuck it wants to play.
Yeah.
And then it goes through like loads of bands that you've never heard of. But I really like that sometimes. Like I'll be playing a game and I wouldn't really be paying attention, but then there'll just be a bit in a song that I'll be like, what is this? And then like it stops me and then I'm like, this is amazing. So Skeleton Witch was one of those bands. And Fen of Shadows really, really caught my eye because it's proper. The guitars are just really like amazing, and the guys' like heavy vocals are like really. They're not like the vocals that I kind of normally like, where they're sort of low and kind of guttural. They're more like proper like high up there and high and really like cuts through you. I really, really love this song. This is probably one of my favorite singles, and I've never listened to anything else apart from this song from this band, which is kind of bad.
They're probably
Well,
amazing.
Makes it
So,
a good single, I suppose, then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and listen to their other stuff, but definitely this is the first thing that came to mind. What did you guys think,
Ooh, pick
God.
someone.
Pick someone.
Kyle?
Yeah, I had heard Skeleton Witch before because they were on Brutal Legend. They had the song Soul Thrashing Black Sorcery. What a name.
Nice.
Wow.
Funnily enough, I also found out about Angel Witch from Brutal Legend.
You're an angel
Ah.
witch.
You're an angel witch.
Swag.
All the witches, the skeleton witches and the angel witches.
You're an angel witch. Screw it. You're an angel witch. Swag. No, if it was a modern day one, it'd be You're an angel witch. Yo. You're an angel witch. Yo. It just rhymes yo with yo. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
You're an angel, bitch.
You're an angel,
Oh,
bitch.
kill him.
Yeah, coming down, give it webs. Yeah,
Bud.
yeah. It's good music.
Dude, I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could do trap.
Well,
Anyone can. Literally anyone
can. Yeah.
Anyway.
I think I heard BMO, my
Child.
rat, do trap.
He was just boggling one day. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
it's all right. I've never really been a big fan of black metal, except for like the big boys. So I like a bit of Behemoth and Dimmu Borgir, but I feel like Dimmu Borgir is kind of carried by ICS Vortex's clean vocals more than anything else for me. Their actual heavy parts kind of like. This is all very way through, so it's like.
Today you sound like a clicker.
And his voice is a little bit more understandable than most black metal songs, but even still, it's very, very yar. And I like the slow
Captain Yarface.
Captain. Face.
I'm never gonna stop referencing them.
Don't. It's one of our first memes.
Meme of the day.
Sick name.
I've just put in summary. Wouldn't turn it off, but wouldn't turn it on either.
Nice.
So it's stuck in limbo forever.
Yes, it exists, and I
I
neither
see.
like it nor dislike it that much. Well, I like it, but I don't like it enough to say how I'm going to listen to this sort of thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Greg, what do you think?
I actually really enjoyed it. I've said before, I don't know what the fuck subgenres are about, so I don't know what a black metal is, but
Black.
like,
The way you
I-
said that.
to me, I was gonna call it like melodic death metal with like just a little bit of melody and like 90% the death metal.
The death.
It's good,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah, for sure.
It had those high pitched sort of guitar-y like In Flames-y Dark Tranquility-ish riffs, but just like not as many of them and a bit slowed down. And like I was saying, the vocals weren't as harsh as I would expect from the more sort of extreme metal genres. So for me, it was a bit more like tame than I would expect from something called black metal. I associate black metal with and like really slow instrumentation, which generally I find that kind of thing quite boring. Like I've tried to listen to Dimmu Borgir before, and I'm just not bothered. I get a bit bored. More like Dimmu Borgir, am I right?
Yeah.
Got him. Career ended.
Nice. He
Yeah,
cancelled.
Cancelled.
but yeah, I actually really enjoyed this. I thought it had a really nice build up at the beginning and a really nice kind of, I don't know if you call it a drop because it's not fucking dubstep, but where it went from the build up into the heavy part was, I thought, really effective.
Let's call it a
Yeah,
drop.
for sure.
It's call it a drop.
It's a drop.
Yeah, it was like 6 minutes long, wasn't it, or a bit more? But I didn't get bored.
8 minutes.
Was it that long? Like, yeah, I didn't. I
Yeah.
didn't feel as long as it was, and it was interesting enough to keep me entertained. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
It's-
I mean, I listened to these singles, much like Ben, right before the podcast. So, in all
I did as
honesty,
well this time.
I was like, looking at the time, I was cooking dinner, and I was like, CHUB Cast in an hour. And I went, fuck, I haven't listened to the singles. I forgot about them. So, I slapped them on. Black metal is not really my thing, but live it is my thing. I love seeing black metal live, so I would never ever put this back on myself, but I'd go catch them live if they were playing a festival or something. Pretty much that's the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Good boys.
Good shit. Yeah. So that was Skeleton Boys. Skeleton Witch. I swear I wrote this down. Skeleton Men. Skeleton Boys.
Fam of Shadows by the
Fam
Skeleton
of Shadows.
Gang.
Greg, what did you choose?
I chose Acid Rain by Liquid Tension Experiment. And I was actually trying to
Yes,
remember
you
just
did.
before we did the show. I think Kyle, you might have shown me this originally, or maybe Josh.
I think it was me actually. Yeah.
Quite possibly, because it's a sort of super group that didn't really last very long. They had like 2 albums over the course of a couple of years. It's what's his name from Dream Theater and the other guy from Dream Theater, and a couple of other people.
I think Claire looked up. There's 3 people from Dream Theater and someone else, or something.
Yeah.
So it's just Dream Theater.
I actually didn't check what came first, this or Dream Theater.
So Dream Theater came first, and then John Petrucci and
Mike
Portnoy. Basically, so the keyboardist in Liquid Tension Experiment, his name's Jordan Rudess. They really wanted him to join Dream Theater, but he was like, nah, but I'm kind of busy with my other random band that I'm in at the moment. They're like, please. And he's like, no. And they're like, please. And he's like, no. And they're like, please. He's like, no. And they're like, okay, we'll start another cool band called Liquid Tension Experiment. Do you want to play in that? And he's like, yeah, go on then, so long as it's not super serious. And then they made the album, and they're like, do you want to join Dream Theater? He's like, yeah. So they pretty much made Liquid Tension Experiment just to fucking coax him into like, just play with us a little bit, man. Like, just see what it's like, bro.
You'll enjoy it. That's right. Oh, fuck, I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
It's kind of cute.
Oh my god.
So this is kind of proto Dream Theater in a way.
Well, this was after Dream Theater's first few
So they
albums.
groomed him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is the bassist. They don't have a bassist on this album. They have a guy who plays the Chapman stick.
Oh, I love the Chapman stick. I didn't fucking know that. Oh.
Yeah, it's Chapman stick. And
Chapman stick's amazing. It's like a, what is it, 11 string?
You know.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 guitar strings and then like 5 bass strings.
Yeah, it's this stupid instrument that you play with both hands like this, just all tapping, no picking. And there's a really funny video from back in the day of this guy doing the Mario theme tune on it, and it's amazing. But genuinely, it's the sickest instrument. I had no idea that's what that was.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
Probably found that instrument with Michael in the charity shop. I was like, fuck it, I'm not playing bass, I'll play this.
Probably.
It's funny I mentioned King Crimson earlier because I think it was the bassist. I think it was the Chapman stick player from King Crimson. So yeah.
Damn.
Well, shit.
Maybe I should learn the Chapman stick.
It's really hard to play.
It's fucking,
can't be that bad.
I mean, give it a go. I
The
don't
guys
know how
who-
much one would.
I mean, if
cost
the
you.
guys from Dream Theater can learn it, anyone can really.
It's like
So,
trap music.
yeah.
Easy,
Yeah,
mate.
it's like, anything that's chart music. It's just so easy.
I've actually never seen a Chapman stick in real life. I'm assuming they're very expensive.
No,
It's
Probably.
it's literally a stick with some strings on it, as far as I could tell. Like,
Every
that
time
not
I've
what a
used a
guitar is?
chapstick,
Nah, it's like proper.
it hasn't had strings on it. Weird.
Weird, right? Some people are out there throwing Chapman sticks for their dogs. They don't even realize.
Anyway.
Anyway, so this song has music in it as well. And yeah, I think it's really cool. I actually also am aware of John Petrucci from his solo career, where he has one album which is pretty cool, but he's also a big part of the G3 tour, which is a massive guitar sort of showcase that Joe Satriani set up, where he gets 2 other guitarists to do this gigantic tour with him every year. Or he used to anyway. He's done a shitload of them, and it's had every well-known guitarist. And there's an incredibly great hour or hour and a half. And it's Joe Satriani, John Petrucci, and I think maybe Yngwie Malmsteen or somebody. The third guitarist it might be Steve Vai.
Steve Vai.
Yeah, that's how I actually heard about John Petrucci separately from this. But he is a fucking incredible guitarist as well. So I'd mention that.
Nice.
He has a song called Glasgow Kiss, which is amazing.
Alright. Go on, Greg. Who?
Ben.
I thought this song was pretty.
Hey.
It was pretty. Pretty fucking
song.
boring.
Oh! That's not foreshadowing to what you said earlier.
No, I was talking about the album.
That would be
Uh,
post-shadowing.
Post shadowing.
But it,
Post
yeah,
shadow,
Shadow,
No, it'd be
yeah.
post light.
post spin of shadowing.
Post sun. Anyway.
No, it wasn't that boring. It was okay. It was one of those things where, I mean, like, it was pretty. With things with instrumental songs, I just like, I don't really. One of those things where, like, it'll be in the background, and as much as I try and focus on it, I think because of my, like, my undiagnosed ADD, I'll be like, ooh, my thumb. And then I'll just look at that for like 10 minutes. And,
bloody vocalist.
and then with the music in the background, and then I'll be like, oh, it finished. Oh, that was pleasant.
That was my
But like, because it doesn't have any sort of vocal delivery, and it's kind of like whilst it was, technically brilliant from what I could remember, and like it had the big bald guy with glasses that had the stick with the strings. I remember that guy because he looked funny.
I didn't know this was a video.
Yeah, it's got a live video.
Yeah, I watched the live one on YouTube.
Oh. Wasn't that like 13 minutes long instead of 6?
That was
Is
it?
it longer?
I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
be surprised. That's
Probably.
Yeah, I think the live
Maybe-
version.
Oh no! Oh no! I watched the extended cut.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet you did, yeah. It's actually only 6 minutes long.
Oh, okay, well, in that case, so I got more of a fuller experience than all of you. So my opinion, slightly more, which
Yeah, but you got
means
the wrong experience.
which means I can say that it was good. I liked it.
Nice.
I'd
Nice.
put it in the background again if I'm doing something else and not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
But I wouldn't not put it in the background. I just wouldn't explicitly be like, "This was a great song that I'm going to listen to and enjoy for the song." I'm like, "Oh, I really liked this. I'm going to put it in the background whilst I'm playing League of Legends or something and not paying attention." It was nice.
Nice. All right, Kyle.
Yeah, so it's just as well earlier I prefaced the whole I like music that's technical for the sake of being technical because I can just listen to it and be like, oh, that thing he did there with that noise, that was...
Oh,
So, this is very much one of those songs. It's very much...
It literally
oh,
is.
shit, this guy's so sick at guitar. I like the song because he's sick at guitar. Like, I feel like there are parts of this song that are like nice to listen to. But to be honest, like the only bits I have in my head is that long segment where it's like... And then there's like this
Yeah,
cool
the
little...
The first riff is the best riff. No
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah. They've got a couple other good songs like Paradigm Shift and By Accident are good as well.
Yeah, I like
There are actually rumors of a Liquid Tension Experiment 3 album coming out soon.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah, this album came out in 1999.
Jesus Christ.
So, mostly because obviously Mike Portnoy got kicked out of Dream Theater, and him and John Petrucci are still bros. So they're like, "Hey, let's make some music." And they were like, "What about that Liquid Tension Experiment thing we did when we were like wee babbies?" And they're like, "Yeah, all right." So apparently that might be.
We
a
were
thing.
little children.
Wee babbies. Yeah. No, I enjoy the song. I listened to it a lot back in the day. But I've slowly fallen out. Like I don't intentionally put on like, well, this is really technically proficient sort of music anymore. It kind of needs to have a bit more substance for me. Yeah, it's
Well,
good.
It's funny you say that because the reason I chose this is because I wanted to contrast it with your single choice from last week
Yeah.
of what do you call it, Polyphia. Yeah, because everyone agreed that was a bit wanky, and I felt that this was an illustration of a similar song but done less wanky, and I wanted to get you guys' opinions on it.
Really, I feel like this is way wankier than the Polyphia song.
Do you reckon?
Nah.
You know what?
I'd put this on over Polyphia.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
Polyphia's got that very driving bass line throughout, though. That kind of keeps it going, and it's got like a very solid, like, it's definitely like head boppable. Whereas this song is like, for like the whole
That's
song,
the
you know?
beauty of opinions, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Comedy is
I think
subjective.
the
Comedy is
the
subjective.
big reason why I loved this one like more than the Polyphia one was probably because I didn't watch the guys much. I think I was just distracted doing something else. So I was listening to the music.
I literally just hated the guys from Polyphia.
I genuinely just do not like the guys from Polyphia. If we ever meet them when we get big and famous, I'm gonna be like, you guys are dicks.
Fucking hell. You know those moments where this is gonna get dug up in like 10 years time, and they're gonna be like, cancel Ben.
Oh no, I don't like the wanky guys from a stupid
no.
pop band.
It won't be cancel Ben. It'll be when we've got an audience. Our audience will go and speak to their audience and be like, "Do you know what they fucking said about you?"
Yeah.
There'll
Start a civil
be
war.
a feud. Yeah, we'll have to have a battle of the bands with Polyphia,
Yeah.
and they'll fucking kick our asses. Obviously.
Oh, it'll be like
Like-
mods and rockers, but instead it would be like good music versus Polyphia.
Yeah, because everyone over on Polyphia's side be asleep, and then like we'll be playing, they'll be all like jigging because we're actually fun. Anyway, we were all talking about Polyphia. We're talking about
Liquid tension
Good
experiment.
that's it, yeah.
Mm.
And just to wrap this segment up because it's gone on too long, I didn't like
Been
it.
talking shit for ages. How
The
come?
end.
The
It was like I don't know.
Zach doesn't like prog.
I don't
and
like
it's-
prog. If I didn't like
And
Opeth,
instrumental,
then I'm
yeah.
probably not going to like this. I don't know.
To be fair, I realised after I chose it that it was a really poor choice, and I knew you'd all hate it, except for Carl. But I also really love it, and it was on my list, so I was like, "There's no better time than now."
Hey, there's
Fuck
no
it.
such thing as a poor choice in
Hell
Chubcast.
Zach, I reckon you know those you can get those like buttons where like you can record it, so then when you push the button it says a thing. You should just get a button and it's just this because it's prog.
I need that. Oh, fucking hell. Why didn't you like it, Zach? Because it's prog.
You need to get an "I hate prog" like badge and a bumper
I
sticker.
don't
and-
hate prog. I just think it's boring. I don't hate boring people. Boring
I do.
things. Second album, my recommendation, Greta Van Fleet. Couple of fun facts. Don't know if they're fun, just gonna say them anyway. They formed
What's
in
the album
2012. Oh yeah, Greta Van Fleet from the Fires. Which, fun fact, I actually found out in my little research sesh that this isn't an album, this is an EP. But
What?
don't
is it?
matter.
Nah.
It's two EPs
I mean,
put
it's-
together.
It's fairly short, but
Oh.
So
Okay.
Well, shit.
on their Wikipedia,
anyway.
it isn't counted as one of their albums. They've only got one album out, and that's Anthem of the Peaceful Army, which is a hippie's wet dream, and I fucking love it. It's like the most left shit I've ever heard in my life, and get in my nipples. They formed in Michigan, Frankenmuth,
One of them.
No. In 2012.
Frankenstein.
And when they formed, they were around 13 to 16 years old, which is
Oh.
just madness. The band is comprised of like 3 brothers. The vocalist is the youngest brother, and the guitarist and bassist are twins. So it's very much a family band, apparently.
That explains how he hits those high notes because his balls haven't dropped yet.
Yeah, there you are. You see. Hopefully he doesn't. His balls remain tucked in.
Parents are just like, keep bringing in that money, boy, and they just castrate him.
Yeah. Well, what I found funny is, imagine if they were like, 18 years old and they did like the tour in Europe, which is what happened. And then, they're allowed to legally drink in Europe, and it must have been a laugh. And then go back to America, where they can't legally drink again. And you're in a rock band, and you can't legally drink. I just find that funny to think.
Yeah.
Just have to do it illegally, I guess. Well,
I'm sure they
probably-
managed to get some beer somehow, but
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure they did. But they can't go in a pub. But they
Yeah, they're down
That's
on the
just
street
bizarre.
corner.
Yeah, so it makes sense that this is an EP now because it's got a couple of covers on it which have been gratified. Like Me on the Ledge sounds nothing like the original.
Oh, I didn't know that was a cover.
Neither does A
I
Change
did
Is
not.
Gonna Come. That is also a cover. Sounds nothing like the original.
I did not realize they were covers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if they're covers or not, if they make them their own.
Who
Kill
are the
Switch.
originals by? Out of interest.
Oh, I probably should have looked that up. I tell you what,
Oh,
Greg,
don't worry then.
you start talking,
Mm.
and I will look it up.
All right. Yeah, I really enjoyed this album / 2 EPs joined together. I thought it was fucking awesome. The first thing I noticed, and I suppose the thing that really stands out to me as like possibly the most impressive thing off the album, is how fucking much the guy sounds like Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't
Uh,
just me. Like, genuinely,
the
I
meme.
heard one of these guys' songs and I didn't know what it was. It wasn't off this album. And I was like, I thought it was Zeppelin, and then I realized it was this guy. Like, I don't know if he's trying to do it or if that's just his natural voice, but it's incredibly impressive.
Blatantly trying to do it, bro.
It's
I mean,
very impressive, though.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, it's really good.
How many hardcore bands sound the same? Like, Anyway, no. So,
But-
sorry, Greg.
Yeah. Is that me echoing? I can hear.
No?
Yeah, it is. I can hear my own voice for some reason. Maybe it's just in my head.
That's weird.
But yeah, I thought this album's really cool. It doesn't sound as if it was made in the modern day. I don't know exactly what year it was made, but I wrote down it has a very sort of
It came out 2018.
yeah. It's got that sort of
Oh, 2017.
authentic, like it's got that old school sort of 60s sort of calmness to it. Maybe not
Yeah.
60s, but 70s, 80s, where like old timey. It's like slow and patient, but it's not like it doesn't feel slow and it's not boring. It's like got soaring high notes and big moments in it, but there's something. I felt that the album title was very appropriate because it was like a really good campfire a set of campfire songs,
Yeah.
and yeah, I wrote down. I don't know. It's a weird thing to describe why it sounds so sort of old schooly to me. I compared it to Jefferson Airplane. I don't know if you guys ever listened to them.
No.
They're a quite prominent like 60s bands. They're referenced in the film Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I don't know how actually involved with drug culture they are, but they were quite popular among like hallucinogenics takers and stuff back in the 60s and 70s. But they used really soaring singing moments with kind of minimal instrumentation behind them to create exciting moments without too much clatter of instruments around it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I felt that I got the same sort of effect from this album. Like they used the guitar and the singing to fantastic effect without showing off or without overly like layering stuff on or showing off how good they were.
Yeah, this is a great example,
I-
in my opinion, of less is more.
Mm.
And it's funny you bring up like the old school thing. Like at the end of Flower Power, there's like a keyboard solo that's so nostalgic to me, yet it's not nostalgic. That keyboard solo wasn't in my childhood or my teens. That sound wasn't in any of the music I listened to. Yeah, I listened to it and I'm nostalgic to it.
Yeah, I get that.
Do you know what I mean?
There's one song which is super, gives me really nostalgic vibes, even though it's from like a completely different time frame and aesthetic to us. And it's that song that was on YouTube that everybody's probably heard. It's called Plastic Love by Maria Takeuchi. It's a Japanese city pop song.
Ooh.
And that song is so good and gives me massive waves of nostalgia. I'm like, this is a song from the 80s, before I was born, from Japan. How am I feeling nostalgic over this? But it's just one of those things. It's very like you can't get rid of the feeling. I guess.
There must be a word for that, where it's nostalgic, yet you have no nostalgia towards it.
It's like borrowed nostalgia from your parents or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, definitely my dad.
Must be a German. There's probably a German word for it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
jumbo for everything.
It's literally just the word for borrowed and nostalgia smushed together into one.
Kyle, what did you think?
So I'd heard a couple of their songs before because he played them in the car and stuff, but I'd never given them a proper listen in my own time. I knew they were quite big because this is how much of a fucking normie I am. The elders reacted to it on the React channel, and
Really?
it was basically
that
they
the
did
one where-
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They played Led Zeppelin songs and Greta Van Fleet songs, and they were like, "Who is this song by?" And they had to try and guess which one's by who. So yeah, coming off the back of that, like, I expected to like this album, but I've got to say, of all the albums we've reviewed so far, I found this one really difficult to find things to say about it.
Oh, really?
I think it's because it's a very like simple classic rock album, in my opinion. I listened to it twice because the first time I listened to it, I was like, I can't fucking think of what to say about it.
That's
I
like,
listened
that was
to it
like
again,
me and
I was-
Opeth, to be fair. So
Yeah,
I gave
yeah,
it a second listen.
Yeah, I gave it a second listen today, and I mean, yeah, I like it, but it's just to me, it's very safe in my opinion. I don't think it's really not trying to do anything different, and I think a lot of people think the fact that they sound a lot like Led Zeppelin is a good thing, but I think it's less inspiration and more of like just a straight rip-off in my eyes.
I disagree.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I know a lot of people do, but to me, like, it seems like they are really trying to sound specifically like Led Zeppelin rather than being influenced by Led Zeppelin.
I
To me, that's
disagree,
what it sounds like.
only because their other album doesn't have
I
any
haven't
Zeppelin
listened to
vibes. It's got
Yeah.
their own thing. Like I said, this is like their EP, so they're finding their feet.
Yeah, I did hear they kind of came into their own on the later album, but this one for sure, like, there are parts like, especially like Safari Song,
Oh,
Flower Power, they're very much Led Zeppelin songs. I mean, Safari Song it gives me vibes of Immigrant Song as well. I mean, it's even named similarly.
mm.
Uh,
I love
but
Safari
yeah.
Song. It's one of my favorite songs ever.
Yeah, I mean it's all right, but I don't know. I feel like for me, like I'd probably like it more if I hadn't already listened to so much like classic rock like this. And I think a lot of
Wait,
the things
what other bands like this are there though?
they just sound a lot like. So I put like a Safari Song, got a very spacey, sounds
Apart
very
from
Led
Zeppelin,
Zeppelin.
like,
Change is Gonna Come. It's very gospely and sound kind of like a bit of Pink Floydy. Highway Tune sounded very Aerosmith to me. It's just like I think, they weren't. I mean, I'm a smelly prog. Listen to stuff for the technical stuff. Boy, we've already established this earlier in the episode, and I just feel like I've heard it all before. Really, when it comes to this sort of stuff, that's the only thing I've got. Like none of it's bad. It's just paint by numbers to me.
God. Well, I mean, God, Greg.
I already have my bit.
Oh shit,
go on,
Ben. Yeah, Ben.
Oh, it's my go. So here's the thing. I fucking love this album.
You gotta stop
It's
doing that.
fucking
My heart's like,
amazing.
oh no. It's like
Dude, this
Rubber
was-
High
this
all
was one
over
of those-
again, where I thought you guys would like it, you didn't.
No, dude, this is one of those. I mean, the thing is, like, probably remember, we listened to like the whole album on a car journey once. I swear, like, every single song, I was like, "What's this one? What's this one?" Because like the whole time, it was just like everything was. To me, this was like a perfect blues rock album, and that's what it was. It was blues rock. They had really, really, bluesy kind of elements from obviously like the biggest one that was kind of the bluesiest was obviously the cover of A Change Is Gonna Come. I think I'm not sure what band it came from or what musician, but I think that's a blues song to begin with. Is it?
I
I'm
did
not
look
really
it
sure.
up,
To be
and then I
honest.
got
Is it
bored and
Sam-
stopped looking it up.
Is it Sam Cooke? I've just remembered.
Sam,
It might be Sam.
It is Sam Cooke.
It is, yeah. Okay.
So I don't know who that. I don't
do
actually know who
that
that is.
song. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that.
I don't
The
know if Sam
original
Cooke.
is acoustic, right?
Okay, so Sam Cooke apparently is
I think
R&B
they
and
have.
soul.
Okay.
So that's probably why I got really bluesy vibes from it, because it's
Very,
it's a soul
blues
singer.
as well. Yeah.
But that kind of bleeds into the rest of their stuff as well, where it wasn't for me, it didn't feel like just normal classic rock. It was very reminiscent of the 70s. And I think it was fresh for me because I've never, apart from obviously we should probably get off the whole Led Zeppelin thing, but
It's
the thing that
Yeah, I find it bad. They're so talented. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're not prog talented, which
yeah,
prog sucks. So fuck them. Like these guys are so talented.
yeah. And the thing
it
is
a shame that
Yeah,
they're kind of shadowed.
they're no more or less talented than prog people. It's a different type of pursuit. They've spent their musical talent in a different way. I don't think they're any less talented than like prog boys we listen to. I think it's used in a different way. I think they're very, very talented.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
like the thing that I can't remember what I was going to say. I never really listened to like Led Zeppelin or a lot of I've listened to a bit of 70s rock, but to be honest, it's probably where I have the biggest gap in my knowledge when it comes to music. So a lot of their sound was really fresh for me. So that's probably why I didn't get bored with it a lot, and every single song had something in it for me. Obviously I love the covers that they do. Safari Song was a really, really strong start to the album. Flower Power was really fucking good. Highway Tune was one of those songs where I listened to all of the choruses and everything. It's such a simple chorus. All he says is "so sweet, so fine, so nice, my," and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's all it needs to be,
That's what I
and
said.
it was
It's
so good.
Simple is less is more. Less is
Sometimes
more.
less is, yeah, for sure. Sometimes in this kind of genre and this kind of style, less is definitely more, and it really lends to that. Also, interestingly, when I was going through Genius, I was looking at some articles from interviews. They never even listened to Led Zeppelin until late high school. They didn't even barely even know who they were. Apparently, they were saying from a interview with Rolling Stone that literally the Josh, the singer, he literally just did a really high pitched singing thing at one point, and the boys all looked at him and it was like, whatever you just did, keep doing that. Apparently, and that's why he kind of adopted that sort of high pitched singing. Apart from that, they never were actually that influenced by them because they didn't really listen to them that much. There you go.
I've read that interview as well.
Yeah. So interestingly, they're not even trying to rip them off or anything. They kind of just coincidentally sounded like them, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I totally believe that.
Believe what you want to believe.
Believe what you want.
Singers can't sound like each other just coincidentally.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I absolutely loved this album. Loved the instrumentation, loved the singer's voice, obviously. Yeah, it's classic
His
bluesy
voice
rock to the core.
in the song, I think it's "Talk on the Street." Towards the end of that song, the singer manages to hold in one for a 14-second long singing session, on one breath. I timed it. It was 14 seconds long, and I was like, and he's 18 years old, and I'm like, fuck, man. What talent.
Same song's got one of the best examples of I was really thinking about song structure the other day for our songs and stuff like that. It's one of the best songs that has an example of long choruses, where it's okay to have a pre-chorus and a really long chorus that takes up quite a bit of the song. Because obviously it's the bit where it's everyone knows they're talking on the streets. That whole chorus is actually quite long.
Yeah.
And it really made me rethink a lot of song structure, because it doesn't necessarily need to be wrapped around equal amounts for verses and choruses. So it was really interesting, sort of doing a lot of reading of the lyrics and stuff. But I guess that's me as a vocalist, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what you can
so
take away.
I also noticed though, when he's doing that, there'll be a long repetition, like I said, many lyrics, but it's just the slight vocal, called them, like flourishes that he puts onto them and slight variations on ways
Yes,
that he
yeah,
repeats
I
each
noticed
time.
that.
And it's enough to
Yeah.
hold your attention that, like we've been talking about with minimalism, it doesn't need anything more than that. But the background music there, and he's just changing it enough to keep your attention throughout the whole. Yeah, I was really impressed by. It's not just his voice; it's like the slight things that he does with the singing that really make it really listenable. And this is an album where I would just like listen to it many times, and I think I'd enjoy it each time for like slightly different reasons.
This album
Sure.
is in my like most played songs. It's in it with his vocals in the second album or the first one. He actually used his vocal range as an instrument sometimes. So instead of singing, he will play along with the guitar and sing with the guitar with what the guitar's doing and stuff like that. And I don't know what song it is, but there's a bit where he goes with the guitar, and it sounds really cool and stuff like that.
I want him to do like those saxophone solo. You're like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
just out.
Yeah. Anyone have any other things to say? Because
I just want to reiterate that I didn't think it was boring at all. I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was like anything special to me. Like there was nothing that really caught my attention much. I was like, this is nice, but there was nothing that made me feel more than that, or really. Like, yeah,
that's someone
there's
for
nothing
me
wrong with it.
personally that like looks out for catchy choruses, like me on the Ledge. Oh,
Yeah, me on the Ledge is definitely my favourite song on this album, and I did add that to my favourites.
nice.
But yeah, I added Me on the Ledge, Edge of Darkness, and Change is Gonna Come. But of all those, the only one I've thought to listen to since then is Me on the Ledge, and that is a really good song. So, but the rest of them, I don't know. I don't think I wouldn't put them on again. But I wouldn't. Again, it's like Fenner Shadows. I wouldn't put it on, but I wouldn't complain if it was on. I'd enjoy it if it was on.
Fair enough. Do you want to rate it as you're chatting?
Well, yeah, it's as average can be for me. It's 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Go on, Greg.
It's a slightly difficult one to review because, as Carl said, it's not a prog album. It's not trying to be the most different boy. It's not trying to be a spectacular technical showcase. But I really enjoyed it. And I can happily enjoy different types of music for different reasons. So I really loved Opeth because of the technical spectacularity of it and the kind of interesting things that they did. But I can also really enjoy this one for, in a way, for its safeness and its kind of easy listening quality and its nostalgia. And out of the two, I would find this one more listenable, and I would happily put this one on in more situations than I would with Opeth. So I'm actually going to give this one again a completely subjective 9 out of 10 because I really did enjoy it and I would listen to it again on repeat.
Why'd you keep copying this?
Fuck you, I got there first
Speaking of
week.
which,
All right, so yeah, I
We're gonna
really
give it
really
a-
loved this album. we're gonna give it
you're gonna copy Greg?
fuck's sake. Yeah, this album was awesome. It really rekindled a lot of like stuff I really loved about the genre of rock and roll, but a genre that has influences that I already love, and like things like blues. So obviously it's blues rock, and I fucking love that so much. Like why I love like really old AC/DC and like all that kind of stuff as well. And I probably thinking about it, would probably like a lot more Led Zeppelin. I just need to listen to it. but yeah, this was amazing. Every single song on it was really, really good. If I had to pick my favorites, aside from the covers, obviously Meet on the Ledge is amazing. Probably Safari song, Highway Tune, Flower Power, pretty much all of them really. I think the only one I didn't love was the last song, but I mean, I still liked it. It just wasn't that love. And yeah, really, really good. I've added all of it onto my favorites, and I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Copying Greg.
Oh my god, copy Greg. Copy Greg boy. Copy Greg boy.
Copy boy.
Greg number 2. Greg number 2.
Oh dear. Well,
Oh, you like this album?
Yeah, you like Greta Van Fleet? Fuck you.
I love this album. I love this band. Their other album is just as good. It's just, so good. Oh,
I
and
need to give it a listen.
the thing is, I think that like
Yeah, I do as well.
I personally think, yeah, sure they sound like Led Zeppelin, but in my opinion they don't really sound like anyone else other than Led Zeppelin. So how many like hardcore bands, metalcore bands, folk, glam, thrash, loads of those bands in those genres all sound the fucking same. So now there's one band that sounds like Led Zeppelin, and that's a bad thing. I want more. I want more bands that sound like Led Zeppelin because I love it and I love this sound. It's like a bit like AC/DC and Airborne, or like the Struts and the Rolling Stones. Like I want
feel
more
like
of it. And
Airborne is so clearly distinctive from AC/DC. Like people
but
compare
they weren't
them,
when
like,
they first came out. And Greta will find their sound. Airborne a decade older than Greta.
yeah,
And
that's
probably
the thing.
3 decades older than the actual musicians. So
Yeah, I've never listened to Airborne's earlier stuff because I always did wonder why people compared them, because I'm like, this doesn't, like, the vocals are different, everything's different. Like,
it's just because it's so hard to like be a legitimately good modern hard rock band, rock and roll band. It's because I guess it is because it's been done to death. And sure you could sit and listen to all these classic bands from like the 60s and 70s, but I want but they're my dad's bands. I want my own bands like Greta and Airborne. Like they're mine now. And they're young and they're going to be around for ages, and they're actually releasing new music. And hot take, I actually think Greta's better than Led Zeppelin. Horrible opinion, I know, but I don't care. I'm just going to give it a 10 out of 10, and I cannot wait to see where they go in their very early career. It's going to be amazing.
I think if you like can really appreciate the intricacies in like those kind of bands that you really love as well, you can see the differences that a lot of people generalize, and that's the difference. Is that a lot of people will be like, oh, they sound like blah blah and stuff. But if you're actually like a fan that really appreciates that kind of music, then you see a lot of the kind of differences that really set things apart.
Yeah.
Which is why, like I know a lot of people say like all metalcore sounds the same, but then like there are like hundreds of different ways I could obviously name like loads of different bands like that sound different. So yeah, if you're like a fan of that stuff, then you know.
Yeah. And that's what counts. And like I say, I just give me more bands that sound like Zeppelin, please, because I love the sound of Zeppelin, and they're not a thing really anymore. So more, please.
Are they dead? Are they still alive?
Are they dead?
They played Jimmy Page played the 2012 Olympics. I remember that.
So if you were there, you could have seen them then, or him. That's the problem. Yeah. They're not around anymore, so it's nice to have new stuff that sounds like them. And it'd be good shit. Music, it's fun.
Woo! Go music.
No. This tip of the week is both Tim and our boy Andrew Branch, Andy B. He thanked us for the shout out. We're shouting you out again.
Number one fan. I love you, Andy.
Yeah, boy. He said he loved to come and discuss either or both bands. He's a fellow musician, so we're kindred spirits, and he's no more weird than us. I mean, yeah, that's pretty difficult to be.
We shall see.
He said, keep killing the review game. I'm not always a fan of the choices, but I do enjoy a wide swath of musical genres, so I respect the shit out of your approach to musical diversity in your reviews. Cheers, lads.
Appreciate it.
And Greg said, what did you think of Protest, by the way? He says, happy to chat out with you some stellar music. As for Protest the Hero, I've heard them quite a bit, but never listened to an entire album in one sitting. To echo a recurring statement espoused by you guys, there's no doubt these guys are sick with their instruments. They clearly have a command of their music and sound. I will say that when listening to an entire song after song, I found a lot of samenishness. Made up words, because why not? From song to song. I think we said that as well, didn't we? Like
Somebody did say that last week, yeah.
Yeah. I
Especially
enjoyed
in the last couple.
Yeah, for sure. Like towards the end, it's a bit
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
Mm.
I enjoy being taken through ebbs and flows, unexpected movements, and perhaps even some genre-bending sounds. This album is comprised of beautiful music, but beautiful music that was really quite similar from song to song for the most part. I equate it to driving a scenic highway or interstate in a slick car at 75 miles per hour for the entirety of one trip, start to stop. Well, that is certainly enjoyable. It leaves a little bit to be desired in the way of diversity.
I can definitely
forgive me
appreciate
if
that.
Sorry.
So I was going to say, I can definitely appreciate that because we know that he is a fan of much more journeyous, like mountainous projects like Deer Hunter's many coloured set of 5 albums or whatever it is, that spans many songs and many influences and all that. So compared to those, it probably is a little bit flat. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely need to get some Deer Hunter in here at some point.
I still need to. Yeah, I haven't actually listened to your recommendation yet, Andrew. I still need to. Sorry.
Maybe when he comes on, we can do it.
Yes.
He says, "Forgive me if my critique sounds like I'm splitting hairs or making mountains out of molehills. In all honesty, I'd rate the album 7.75 out of 10. Oh, he's going into double decimals. It's excellent at what it does.
Appreciator of decimals like myself.
Yeah, man of decibels, I see. Decimals.
I just wish it did a little more in the way of shifting tonality speed and sound textures. My favourite tracks are Moonlight, Tapestry, Dunzel, Reign of Unending Terror, and Sex Tapes. It's a very well written review, very evocative.
Indeed, yeah, good vocabulary as well. Very descriptive.
Hell
Nice
yeah.
one, bro.
Thank you so
good
much for that
decimals.
comment. That's amazing.
Hey, when we
Thank
get
you.
Okay, when we're
find out.
episode 500, we're going to look back on this, and as the comment, the review that was not Tim, the first one.
That is actually, yeah, that is the first non-Tim review, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey!
So 12 that didn't
Episode
take as
12.
long as I thought it would take, to be honest. That's awesome.
We have to give him Tim of the Week for that.
Yeah.
Tim of the
Sorry,
week.
Andrew, you are Tim of the Week. Well done. Congratulations.
Anyway, shall we move on to Tim of the Month?
Tim of the... Well, Tim...
Yeah.
Go,
The
go,
Tim.
go.
Second Tim.
Tim.
Go.
Single reviews. Liquid Tension Experiment. Remember hearing about the super band a while ago. It's a bit much like Satch Boogie was. I like the opening and closing bits, but not so much the middle
Fantastic
screeching
song.
guitar. 4 out of 10.
I know Satch
Yeah.
Boogie. That was on
Tell you
Guitar
what,
Hero.
Satch Boogie is a fucking 10 out of 10 though.
Yeah, it's a sick song.
Love that song.
Skeleton Witch, Fen of Shadows. Took a bit to start up and then became a hammering heavy track. The vocals seemed too quiet, making me strain to hear it. It's just your fucking tinnitus, bro.
No, I thought the vocals were quite quiet. in my-
More like Timitus.
Me. Timitus. Nice one, man. Good. No, I agree. I thought the vocals were quite quiet, but then again, that is black metal. So,
Yeah, the vocals are always kind of like some distant in
yeah.
the background or
Like
something.
he's recording it from the other side of the room.
Well, they probably did record it on like a fucking 4-track recorder from the 70s just to make it sound brutal and real, you know.
Yeah, and then they burned the church afterwards.
Yeah, and then they picked the tape out of the desiccated remains.
Yeah. It was the only thing that
That's not
survived.
fun.
It was in the hands of the corpse of a fucking pope. Of one of the popes, you know. Anyway, one of the many popes.
He said, to my ears, it sounded quite generic for this sort of thing, but not bad. 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Decent.
I can album reviews. Opeth Watershed. Coil was not representative of this album.
That's what I
It
said.
was a weird change of pace, and then they did
Yeah.
it again. Yeah. The vibes are just a bit all over the place for me. It'd be better if they didn't basically loop the calm and heavy parts. I understand what you mean, like they do switch between them over and over again. But yeah, it's pretty much a conversation we had earlier, right? Where it's like some people love it and some people hate it.
Yeah, Greg's
Yeah.
compared it to Marmite.
Definitely
It is
Marmite.
one of those Marmite things where that's the sound. You either enjoy it or you don't.
Take it or leave it.
I felt that 5 to 6 minutes is probably too long to get itself across. It's very atmospheric, but just felt it was missing a certain catchiness to really grab you in as a main event. I did quite like Mellotron Heart, though. I listened to Mellotron Heart. That is the version of Porcelain Heart with a Mellotron on it. So
Oh.
With a
Damn,
what?
he went deep with the research. I didn't listen to that.
it's that
Yeah,
random
I remember
instrument that Mikhail got from the charity shop from earlier.
Oh,
So that's
alright.
not in the normal version.
I think it's a
What
bonus
he does
track.
the. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a remix of Porcelain Heart, but with a Mellotron.
Porcelain Heart.
Wasn't
Fucking hell,
big,
Tim learning all about the Moogs.
the
What a
moves, yeah.
moog! What a fucking
Fucking
moog!
moog.
Big move. Wasn't for me. 4 out of 10. Greta Van Fleet from the Fire.
Tim's always got my back. Tim's always got my back. Whether it's prog or Ramahoy, he's always there for me.
I don't know.
Brian.
Yeah,
You haven't seen what he's rated the Greta
I
Van
think you-
Fleet up.
I think you paid him off.
Yeah, I paid him off. Not enough, apparently.
If you told me this was a Led Zeppelin album, I'd probably believe you.
There it is.
I'm not sure if
It's the
that's
most
good-
apparent thing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
It's certainly very classic rock. Not the biggest fan of this style of vocals, but fits the purpose here. It's a good vibe album. If a bit end credits of a movie, that's if a bit end credits of a movie. That's kind of a weird
I get what you
comparison.
mean.
to make. I kind
That
of
is a
get it,
weird sentence, but yeah, I see what he's saying. Yeah,
yeah, and that makes sense, really.
but it wouldn't have been back in the '60s.
Yeah,
That would have been the main soundtrack.
I would have thought they were Satanists or something.
Yeah,
He also said, "Made me feel a bit nostalgic, even though I wasn't around back then.
Damn.
Even if it's not my
Oh,
style,
yeah.
it's an enjoyable good time. 6 out of 10.
Hey.
Enjoyable good time.
not bad.
That's literally it, isn't it? It's just
I think he was
Nice.
kind of in
What
the same
can I
boat
ask
as
for?
me, really.
fucking Tim. Never got my
I'll say
back.
so. Yeah.
Fucking Tim, never have any of our back. Stop
Yeah.
commenting on our
Yeah, what
shit.
the hell, man? Having your own opinions, fuck off. Just repeat what we say. But when we disagree, you have to agree with all of us anyway. Just fuck you.
Yeah, thank you again, as always, Timbo Slice.
Tim,
Thanks,
you legend.
Tim.
Absolute
Speaking of
madman.
Tim.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Next week is the Tim special.
Yes.
Tim gets this time he doesn't need to comment because he'll be on the show in person
Yep.
talking about it.
Yeah,
2 episodes in a
the
row.
first of we hope many guest episodes. We're gonna
Yeah.
try different formats. Imagine that.
Oh, keeping it fresh. Yeah, Tim is
Mhm.
gonna be in the next episode and the episode after that because we work in twos. Shall I tell you what he wants us to listen to now, and then we'll roll the dice for us lot? Why not? It's
Yeah.
on. We're talking about it now.
Yeah, might as well. You already know it.
Yeah. It is Eye Contact by Gang Gang Dance.
What this already sounds.
What?
What is that?
What the hell is that?
He
He
did
told
tell
me
me
that-
that I forgot.
He told me that he wasn't gonna pick what I expected because what I expected was like trap ghost main bullshit,
Yeah,
and that sounds exactly like what I expected.
I bet you changed his mind. Like,
To be
Were
fair,
you lying to me, Tim? You tricked me.
He
right.
was just trying
So we have to
to
listen
lull
to
you
that.
into a false sense of security.
Okay, well that sounds amazing. I'm gonna have an open mind.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'll give it a review.
I mean,
Open-minded.
they sound
So actually, before we roll the dice,
gonna
I do want to
prejudge it.
say, please. Oh wait, no, we'll roll the dice. Fuck it. We're botching this job. Let's go. I don't have a dice on me.
Fuck it.
Has anyone got a dice handy?
Don't have
Maybe
use the Google app.
Google app.
the
Alright,
I've
Put
got
in
it.
D4 on Google.
go on, Kyle. D4 on Google.
Alright, so Ben's 1, Zach's 2, Greg's 3, I'm 4.
Alright.
Roll! Oh shit, I rolled a d6. 2.
Oh no.
2.
Zach.
Yeah.
And
Me.
And me. 4.
Us two again.
Hey,
Alright.
let's go.
Okay, so
2.
I am starting a new
We're not doing-
series on Meter Metal, which is like a retrospective of classic bands. Each episode is going to be like a decade in their career, and I'm going to get snippets from next episode and put this into that show. And the album I want y'all to listen to is Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden.
Oh!
So yeah,
Oh, here
the
we
first
go.
in my little series is about Iron Maiden, and I figured it might be cool to get like opinions on their like most popular album within that decade, and arguably ever. But yeah, Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. Kyle.
Nice. So, I have a few albums I was going to suggest. One of them's a prog album, so let's not do that.
Yeah, we've had 4 prog fucking shit in a row.
One of them's a hardcore album, so let's switch it up a little bit and not go for that. I'm going to go for... It's a band that Josh showed me on the way back from Cornwall. They are very pretty and very chill, and you'll probably hate them just like you hated Sarah Vaughan.
Let's go.
They are a band called Moonchild, and the album's called Voyager.
I hate them already.
That sounds shit. Moonchild, Voyager.
Zach's going to hate him.
What drugs should I take for this album? Because
Yeah.
it's got that title where I'm like,
Yeah.
Set the scene.
I don't
Do
think
I
you
have to
need
have a spliff in my hand
I've got
while
a whole
looking
box
out
of-
a window at a rainy day? Is that...
That would be
I've
nice.
got a whole box of like Nurofen. I've got some headache
Yeah.
paracetamol in the
Purple
bag.
Rain.
I could,
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got a
is
cold
that-
right now. I've been
Should we all
taking
just-
some
is it that
Sudafed.
kind of album? Hmm.
Should we all just smoke up on Sunday at our house and just listen to the album while we're all fucking baked?
Oh, that sounds perfect. Yeah.
I mean, if my shipment arrives by Sunday, then yeah, go for it.
Nice
Yeah,
shit.
I got you. Don't worry.
Alright.
Cool.
7 grams of ice cream man off the internet the other day.
Ice cream, man.
Ice cream, man.
Yeah, it's cookies.
Right, some weird shit's gonna turn up at your house. It's not gonna be drugs.
Some
It's
dude.
gonna be like a little man made of ice cream in like a freeze pack box.
Yeah.
Just a little sculpture.
And you actually bought it from Wish.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yes. Let's
Well,
So-
I'll be interested to see.
They are the 3 albums that we are going to be listening to next week. Obviously, we're going to have Tim on next week as well, which is going to be awesome. If you want to get involved and listen to these albums and write a review, which we will read out next episode, send your review at
We'll get Tim to read it.
chubtheband@gmail.com. We'll get Tim to read it. Use the hashtag CHUBView or comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. I think that's everything. Socials down below. I hope you enjoyed. I've been Zach, Kyle, Greg, and Ben. That's me. What about you guys? What's your names?
You've been all the people. I've been
Yeah.
Opeth.
Opeth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am Opeth. My name's the band of.
Ben has been Chapstick, and Kyle has been Yarface, Captain Yarface. Anyway,
I've been everywhere.
if this podcast gave you a chub,
I can still
yay.